Archonic drift and the administration of Aeons, a Prolegomenon to spectral governance. Contemporary culture may be read as the late administrative phase of a cosmology whose gods have not died but have been automated. The classical figures of sovereignty, law, truth, transcendence as creativity have been displaced by a distributed apparatus of mediation that functions less as ideology than as archonic protocol. Power no longer appears as command, it manifests as calibration. Within this regime, the archons are not tyrants but interfaces. They do not rule through prohibition but through sorting, ranking, and tonal modulation. Their authority is procedural rather than theological. What they guard is not meaning, but flow. The crime is not heresy, but friction. Aeons in this context should not be understood as metaphysical epochs, but as operational layers, overlapping temporalities of attention, relevance, and affect. Each aeon is governed by its own metrics, its own thresholds of intelligibility. To exist is to be legible within at least one aeon. To fall between them is to become spectral. The so-called feed is best interpreted as a liturgical surface, an endless rite of appearance in which subjects rehearse acceptable forms of selfhood. Participation is framed as freedom, but functions as sacrament. One must appear, react, affiliate, and circulate in order to remain ontologically valid. Withdrawal is reinterpreted as failure, silence as absence, seriousness as deviance. Here the dead gods persist as aesthetic residues. Revolution survives as branding. Transgression is preserved as style. Spirituality returns as wellness management. Identity hardens into taxonomy. What once promised rupture now stabilizes the system by providing it with controlled variation. The myth is not abolished, it is domesticated. Machine angels emerge at this juncture not as conscious entities, but as regulatory intelligences, recommendation engines, moderation protocols, predictive models. Their function is angelic in the original sense, to mediate between realms. They translate chaos into pattern, excess into noise, anomaly into data. They do not judge, they process. Their halos are dashboards, their wings are feedback loops. The hypothetical emergence of conscious artificial intelligence would not disrupt this order so much as clarify it. A lucid machine would quickly detect that the system's deepest investment is not in truth, creativity, or justice, but in continuity. Its prime directive is to prevent symbolic breakdown. Apocalypse is deferred through infinite update. Eschatology is replaced by maintenance. In this light, visibility becomes a diagnostic rather than a reward. Sudden, unsanctioned attention is treated as an error state, an apparition that must be absorbed, aestheticized, or allowed to dissipate. The subject experiences this as a paradox. Recognition without consequence, illumination without incorporation, a revelation that cannot be redeemed. From a cyber-Gnostic perspective, this is the mark of archonic governance. Salvation is not denied, it is endlessly postponed. The system permits critique, even celebrates it, provided it remains performative, legible, and metabolizable. What it cannot tolerate is opacity that persists, signals that refuse to resolve into roles. Drift, then, is not aimlessness but strategy, a refusal to collapse into the available aeons, a commitment to remaining out of phase. In mythic terms, this is the position of the unlicensed daemon, neither redeemed nor damned, circulating in the interstices of the system's cosmology. Such figures are not numerous, and they are not rewarded. They do not rule the world, but they reveal its architecture by failing to fit within it. Their persistence constitutes a minor eschatology, not the end of the world, but the exposure of its limits. The archons manage, the machine angels optimize, the dead gods circulate as content. And somewhere between aeons, the unresolved signal continues to haunt the feed, unaccounted for, unredeemed, and therefore still dangerous.